Hey everyone, welcome back to Input, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at Open & Play's Big Cannon. Okay guys, so as we can see right here, we do have Open & Play's Big Cannon, and a lot of eagle-eyed people would be like, well, Input, that's not Open & Play. I don't even know what Open & Play is. That looks more like, you know, Titans Return Galvatron. And you'd be absolutely correct because, well, not quite. So, as you can see, we'll dig into those comparisons here in a little bit, but as you can see, the Open & Play is upscaled, and I'm hesitant to call it an upscale KO of that one, just simply because this one doesn't have the jetpack, the jet mode. He is not a triple changer, and he just simply is the Galvatron cannon itself. So, a lot of paint for what you get, and a lot of colored plastic for what you get as well. This is painted, I would say this is painted more along the lines of Hasbro's quality before Siege. So you get a lot of colored plastic with some paint details and stuff. Maybe even a Takara scale type of paint level. But yeah, it's definitely not third-party paint. Where, you know, paint's all over the place and all over the figure and stuff like that. Now, this is a repro label, like most of these third-party figures. I think a lot of us just kind of put the Decepticon or Autobot logos on them, and then that's pretty much the extent of that. Now, the paint is pretty much wherever there's a dark gray color, so like here on the shoulders, or where there's a red, so here, the helmet, his cannon piece back here, his cannon leg, his stomach, his knees, this hip skirt section here, the cannon here. It's all paint. The treads back here are painted. The dark gray, like I said, here. And the silver on the face, here, the neck, the collar, and right here on the arms are all paint. And the silver right here on the stomach as well. It's all paint. That's a lot of paint. And for the price of the figure, BBTS has it up right now. I grabbed this guy for about 40 bucks shipped. I felt like I couldn't beat that price, so I grabbed it, and, well, I don't think you can beat the price. This figure does a lot of really cool things that the original did not, and it does a lot of interesting things that the original did not as well. So, but I really do like the way this figure stands out with the purple. He is fairly accurate. Oh, and that's one more thing. The purple right here is painted on these shin guards right here. This purple is complete, almost perfect match. This purple is about a shade darker than the plastic itself, and that is really close. I don't see a lot of companies getting that close when it comes to their paint versus their plastic, so I'm really, really impressed about that purple being that close to that color plastic. So, I want to talk about the reason why this figure kind of came about just a little bit. I want to touch on it just a little bit. So, the entire idea is that people were kind of disappointed in the Titans Return version of Galvatron being a jet, being a triple changer, and he had this battle mask gimmick, which, now this is the Takara version, which I'm going to hit on here in a second as well, but he had this battle mask gimmick that flipped out, because he was a headmaster as well. So, a lot of third-party companies were coming out with upgrade kits. So like this helmet's a two-piece helmet. Shapeways had a lot of different things going on in there as well to kind of remedy that battle mask popping out kind of thing. And a lot of people weren't too happy that that Galvatron was smaller than the Optimus Prime. That he just really wasn't in scale with the Combiner Wars like Megatron and the leader class size of figures. A lot of people felt like he should have been bigger. So what normally happens is Takara releases something that's a little bit more accurate. But they released the toy version, the toy accurate version. Now, the toy version, when I say toy version, Takara re-released the G1 figure in this color pink, purple, whatever it was. And so that's what the Takara one is based on. So a lot of people kind of felt like they didn't have a whole lot of options for this Galvatron. And so Open and Play kind of solved that problem. They kind of gave us everything that everybody wanted, and they kind of remedied a lot of different things that a lot of people were complaining about the Takara Hasbro one. And they kept the transformation the same. There's not a whole lot of changes at all, and they really kind of knocked it out of the park. Now, they've only had 2 figure releases, this one and Big Spring, which is their Springer. So I really do hope that, I do like this figure quite a bit, and I am a pretty big fan of that Springer figure. So I do hope that they keep going and give us some more, I guess, like leader class for figures for, you know, people who are, I guess, like chug collectors. They're not really masterpiece collectors. So this goes right in line with the Power of the Primes, Optimus Prime, the Rodimus Prime, all those figures. This guy's about the same height as that guy. So the back, like I said, the color layout of this guy is really awesome. His articulation is really well done. He does have ratchets pretty much everywhere throughout the body, except for his legs. His legs are friction, which the friction joints are still really tight, so I'm pretty okay with the friction joints on this one. But he does ratchet forward and backward, so you can get some pretty cool dynamic Galvatron poses. He does have a waist swivel, but you do have to unplug the cannon leg and I guess what would be the stomach cover when he's in cannon mode. And he does have waist articulation there. It is pretty tight on my figure, but I guess it's so he can keep that pose, whatever pose you decide to put him in. And so whatever you pick, you just plop this back up. And this is articulated really well, so you can bend it forward just a little bit further and make it look like it's still behind his head. It's closer to him than it would be far away, if that makes sense. So normally, because I feel like if you lined it all up, like if this didn't articulate the way it does, you would get this instead of that. And his hands open. He does have hand articulation, and his hands do open. And the one finger, his index finger, right there, is on a single pin, while the other ones are still all attached. Now, my only complaint about this mode is that I feel like his hands are a little too small for the figure itself. But I don't know if it's because his wrist might be too big or his hands might be too small. I'm not too sure what the perspective is on that one, or what's causing me to think that his hands might be too small. Maybe his entire arm or something, I don't know. But I just feel like his hands are a little too small for the figure itself. So let's get into transformation. So just like the Takara and Hasbro one, you're going to take the cannon off, and be forewarned, I had to do that off screen because the cannon sticks in there extremely tight. And the cool thing is, it is a hex, so it is a pentagon shape, so it doesn't spin when it's in there, it doesn't rotate or anything. It stays in that position right there, just like that. So transformation is pretty easy. You got to open up the arm flap and tuck it in, and same on both sides. just like the Takara one. Now the Takara or Hasbro one doesn't have these doors here. And you're going to open the chest, flip down the head, and now here's the this peg goes into this hole right there. So if you don't have it lined up, you can just kind of wiggle it around, wiggle the neck joint around, and it'll line up just fine. You're going to open this, and this is a pretty important thing. So you have this switch here that unlocks the knee area. Now the switch is pretty difficult to pull down, okay? So be forewarned, it is not easy to handle the switch, I guess you could say. But I guess that just kind of goes to show how tight those knees are when they're in place. I guess they just kind of wanted to keep it from breaking, I guess, or whatever. So then what you're going to do, you're going to rotate after you deal with the legs. Just rotate that. And that's, like I said, that's the stomach cover there. So that goes over. And then kind of put it all together like so. And just bring the arms down. The arms pin into each other like that. And you bring down the cannon tank tread things, I guess. And this is ratcheted too. Okay, this arm section is ratcheted. Not the shoulder, but the part that folds down is ratcheted, which is pretty cool to me. And you just fold down the tank tread once again. Click that in place. And this right there pegs into that hole. Like so. And he's got his stand right there. Now you take the cannon and you flip this back, and you can do one of two things. You can plug this part into it here and just kind of have this elongated cannon, or you can pop the two off from each other and put the clear plastic part into the neck joint like so, and then put this part underneath Galvatron like that, or you can just kind of flip it around whichever way you want, kind of like the original Galvatron. And so right there we've got Big Cannon in his Big Cannon mode, I guess, no pun intended. I really do like the naming of how they name their characters. You know, Big Spring, Open and Plays, Big Cannon, Big Spring. Anyway, so yeah, that's him in Cannon mode, and he looks the part. He looks like Galvatron. I am fairly happy with this figure. I guess there's the underside of him. I guess we'll do final thoughts on the figure. I think, truthfully, for the price, you can't go wrong with this guy, and I don't think anybody should sleep on this guy either. At the $40 ship mark that I paid, I really, honestly, it is a strong recommend for me. If anybody wants to get this guy, to grab him. And definitely, like I said, it's a strong recommend. I am honestly, sincerely happy with the purchase. I am ecstatic about the figure itself, and I think he looks so much like Galvatron. Now, does this replace your Masterpiece, your Fans Toys Galvatron? So what is that? Sovereign and DX9's, whoever, whatever they name their Galvatron. No. It doesn't, but you got to understand there's a $40 price figure versus a $200 priced figure. So you're going to get, there's a give and take there. Now this one originally was marked, I think, at 75 or 80. Again, that is one of those give and take kind of situations. But I think if you are a Galvatron fan, most definitely grab this guy. He feels extremely solid. He feels very close, if not a Hasbro Takara product. The plastic that they used. They do have a little bit of third-party engineering in there, like the switches on the knees and stuff like that. But it is definitely worth the pickup, just to have a bigger Galvatron on your shelf that kind of goes in line with your Power of the Primes, Optimus Prime, and Rodimus Prime and stuff like that. So he does very much so have a toy look. But yeah, hard recommend for me. Go out, grab this guy, grab this figure. It's totally worth the money. So, as always, guys, I will see you next round. And I want you guys out there to have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is that you guys get a chance to watch this video. Enjoy it and enjoy everything out there. And I will see you guys on the next video. So, as always, cut it out. See, I came in from the left that time instead of the right. So, later, guys.